All right, and so just again, this is if you're not on. Remember that we are on. You go into the Schoology, and you're gonna click onto the right and graph linear equations. All right, good job on that one. So in this problem, you are trying to determine the equation for that line. In as we look at those are all in point slope or in slope intercept form. The key thing on this one is to remember that if you look at that slope too, that if it is a positive slope, then it should go up as it goes from left to right. And if it's a negative slope, it should go down from left to right. And so this one goes down as you go from left to right. And so your slope should be negative with that. And again, so this one you're writing that equation for the line in slope intercept form. Again, with this one, pay attention to what type of slope do we have. Use your test taking strategies, even though this isn't a test, but you can use those strategies for multiple choice in thinking about what type of slope we have here. Is it positive or negative? And so how should that represent? And so this was a positive slope, so our answer should have been one of those positive answers. Now in this one, you're given the equation of y equals negative x plus 2, and you want to determine what graph that's going to look like. So again, think about those things that we just talked about with a positive slope or a negative slope, and how should the graph kind of look, and that can kind of help you narrow down the rest of those answers as well. If you on this one, if you want to make it bigger, remember you can always click the image and it will show the image a little bit larger. All right, so now we're looking at a table and we want to determine the equation for it in slope intercept form. So maybe you're going to have to find the slope first and then look at it to see if you can figure out when the y-intercept is. So use your slope formula. Check your notes for that if you need to. And so remember to find slope. We use y2 minus y1 over x2 over x1, or x2 minus x1. On this one, you're looking for the x and the y intercepts. So think about what the x-intercept means and what the y-intercept is. And then use those points in coordinate point. And so remember the x-intercept where our graph crosses the or the x-axis, and that's when y is 0. And then the x or the y-intercept is when x is 0, and that's where the line crosses the y-axis. So you're going to look which one is in slope-intercept form. Which one do we call slope-intercept form? And remember, slope-intercept form is our y equals mx plus b. Which of these lines has a slope of -3? So think about what a slope of -3 is going to look like, and then determine which of those grid graphs has that. And again, if you want to make that image larger, click on it, and it will make it larger for you so you can get a little bit more detail. Remember, slope rise over run. All right, on this type of equation, you're asked what type of slope do we have? Is it All right, we have another one of those. What type of slope is this? Undefined, negative, positive, or 0. Which of these represents the standard form of a linear equation? Which one do we call standard form? Now remember, standard form is the one that we use that really helps us to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So when we're going to graph those, we plug in 0 for x, and that gives us the y-intercept, and then we plug 0 for y, and that gives us the x-intercept. So now which one of these is slope-intercept form? We probably use slope-intercept form the most as continuing on with this as well. You'll in geometry and other things like that, we'll use slope-intercept form a lot. All right, so now you're going to write this in slope-intercept form, and you're told that m, or your slope, is 5, and it's going to pass through the point -1, -3. So you're going to have to determine your y. You're going to have to figure out what your y-intercept is. right, you want to write this equation in point slope form that passes through the point with the given slope. So it has to pass through the point 4, -7, and it has to have a slope of -1/4. Remember, the y goes with the y and the x goes with the x, and then it's the opposite of what we see. All right. And so that's going to be our work for today. And Ari, I'll get you set up in just a second. And so that's going to conclude what we are going to do today with that. And so you'll have the rest of the time to work on any of your missing assignments or anything like that. I do have grades updated in the book or in the grade book, and so check that out.